You're watching live coverage from RJD News. Thank you for contributions from viewers like you.
The question is on the motion to adjourn. Those in favor, say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The motion is adopted. Accordingly, the House stands adjourned until noon on Monday next for morning hour debate.
I will plead not guilty to these charges. I will defeat them in court. I believe this is a politically motivated investigation.
There was a shooting, according to a witness, that erupted behind the church you see right here, Holy Trinity here in Compton. And this witness tells us that this shooting erupted during a funeral service for a loved one.
Good morning, I'm Rashid State Channel. You're watching RJD News this morning, and we have a lot of breaking stories today. Roger Stone was arrested yesterday morning after being indicted by Robert Mueller and the special counsel, and also a shooting happened at a Compton church during a funeral service after the family started going at each other. And also, Donald Trump has made a deal and the government has reopened after the longest government shutdown in U.S. history. After TSA workers did not get paid, after people did not get their tax returns, after there was no food stamps. But RJD News starts right now. Breaking news right now. I'm Rashid State Channel. You're watching RJD News this morning. Breaking news right now. Nancy Pelosi and President Trump made a deal, and the government's going to be open for 3 weeks. And if they do not strike a deal on border security, he will close it again on February 25th, I think. I'm not sure. I forgot the date. But here is the news story of them signing on the new bill.
Chair lays before the House communication.
The Honorable the Speaker, House of Representatives, Madam, pursuant to the permission granted in Clause 2H of Rule 2 of the Rules of the U.S. House of Representatives, the clerk received the following message from the Secretary of the Senate on January 25, 2019 at 6:25 p.m. that the Senate agreed to with an amendment, House Joint Resolution 28, that the Senate agreed to with an amendment, Senate insists on its amendment, and request a conference with the House of Representatives, House Joint Resolution 31. Signed sincerely, Karen L. Haas.
For what purpose does the gentlewoman from New York seek recognition?
Mr. Speaker, I ask unanimous consent to take from the Speaker's table House Joint Resolution 28 with the Senate amendment thereto and concur in the Senate amendment.
This is Senate amendment.
Clerk will suspend. Without objection, the reading is now dispensed with. Is there objection to the original request? Without objection, the Senate amendment is agreed to and a motion to reconsider is laid upon the table.
When he asks.
For what purpose does the gentlewoman from New York seek recognition?
I intend to object, Mr. Speaker, but I hope the experience of the last 35 days has taught us that we should never repeat this exercise of shutting down government again. And I withdraw my objection.
The reservation is withdrawn. Without objection, the question is on the motion to adjourn. Those in favor, say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The motion is adopted. Accordingly, the House stands adjourned until noon on Monday next for morning hour debate.
You have to use some twice.
Where? Madam Chair. Madam Chair. Do you want to be right there?
I wish it was the final piece of legislation.
Thank you very much for joining us. It's kind of a solemn occasion for us because so many people have suffered so long, and now happily, as soon as possible, or as the President said, immediately or as soon as possible, they'll be getting their paychecks. And the American people will getting their services, and our economy can be back on track.
Longtime Trump associate and advisor Roger Stone was arrested yesterday at his home after being indicted by the special counsel with Robert Mueller, and he was charged with collusion with WikiLeaks and trying to get information from Hillary Clinton and her emails. This is the news.
I will plead not guilty to these charges. I will defeat them in court. I believe this is a politically motivated investigation. I am troubled by the political motivations of the prosecutors. And as I have said previously, there is no circumstance whatsoever under which I will bear false witness against the president, nor will I make up lies to ease the pressure on myself. I look forward to being fully and completely vindicated.
Roger, did you in any way cooperate with the special counsel's office? Did you in any way cooperate with the special counsel's office?
Since I was not contacted prior to the charges today, and my lawyers have not talked to the special prosecutors, I don't want to address that question, but I have made it clear I will not testify against the president. Because I would have to bear false witness against him.
Will you work with the prosecutor?
I will be appearing for an arraignment in D.C. next week, and I'll address those questions at that time.
Roger, the president said that you had done tweeted that. What do you think he meant by that?
Well, I intend to tell the truth. I have told the truth through this entire proceeding, and I will prove that in a court of law.
How strong are you going to ask the president for a pardon?
I am one of his oldest friends. I am a fervent supporter of the president. I think he is doing a great job of making America great again.
Roger, did anyone tell you to contact in the Trump campaign to contact WikiLeaks?
No, I've addressed that before. That is incorrect.
Roger, look at the indictment. If you were convicted, do you think the president will pardon you?
Pardon me?
If you were convicted, do you think the president would pardon you?
The only person I have advocated a pardon for is Marcus Garvey.
From NBC News, sir. The question is, did you in any way work with the Russians to help President Trump?
Categorically not. No, absolutely not.
And the prosecutor, the special prosecutor,
We got you, Roger.
is gathering
We got your back,
Roger. Will you in any way?
With all due respect, I haven't even had a chance to read the indictment.
You haven't even read the indictment?
Correct. My attorneys have. I have not had that opportunity.
So will you help the prosecutor and answer his question?
I will address those questions next week in Washington, D.C.
Roger,
Thank you.
if you didn't do nothing wrong, what do you think you here?
It's your turn to be mayor.
You see Roger Stone now stepping back toward the courthouse after just speaking to reporters outside the courthouse in Florida. I mistakenly called this an arraignment earlier. He will be arraigned in D.C. next week. This is his initial appearance after being indicted this morning by the special counsel. If you were watching the entirety of that, there you see it again. A Nixonian salute from a man whose dirty tricks in politics goes back to the Nixon years in American politics. Roger Stone denying emphatically the charges. He said he has not had a chance to read the indictment. He says he will not testify against the president because doing so, Roger Stone's words, would require him to bear false witness, meaning to lie about the president.
This is breaking news, and it's a terrible story. There's one dead after a terrible fight ended up as a shooting at a funeral in Compton, California, at a church. It was a family gathering, and that's when it turned very violent after arguments came out, and that's when they went into the back of the church, and fights began to happen. This is the story.
Yeah, we are at Holly and Compton here in the city of Compton, and you can see the large law enforcement presence here, patrol cars everywhere, detectives are here. You can see just how many sheriff deputies are here at this scene at this hour. There was a shooting, according to a witness, that erupted behind the church you see right here, Holy Trinity here in Compton, and this witness tells us that this shooting erupted during a funeral service for a loved one. They said family members were inside of the church attending the funeral services for a loved one who died in Louisiana, her body flown here, and the funeral services were in progress. They said the argument erupted between family members inside of the church. It spilled outside into the back parking lot of the church. This witness says it erupted into a fist fight between family members. Someone, they said a family member pulled out a gun and started shooting other family members. One family member, according to this witness, was killed. 2 others wounded. We do not know what their condition is, but a lot of the family members are still in the back of the church in the parking lot. Nearby businesses telling us that they heard the gunfire, and before the gunfire they heard the arguing, and they just were panicked inside of their businesses, locking their doors. And they said the argument, even some of the folks, part of the argument spilled out into the street in front of businesses, and they were trying to tell these folks, please leave our property. And then all of a sudden gunfire, and folks in nearby businesses just hit the ground. And the aftermath, you see detectives here. And the minute, this witness tells us, the minute that detectives arrived, authorities arrived, they shut the funeral services down, which angered some family members even more. The body of their loved one still in the casket inside of the funeral home. The funeral services suspended for now. This is just a real tragedy. I've never covered anything quite like this before. Just a sad situation. The investigation continues here in Compton, live in Compton. Leo Starr with ABC 7 Eyewitness News. And I can hear you, Colleen. You're just as dismayed as I am. It's just
very tragic.
No
it's just terrible. Oh, at a funeral. Oh, all right, Leo. Well, thank you very much for that live report.